What's going on, everyone? It's Steven the Laggy Gamer, and I'm finally back doing another video. I know it's been a while since I did one, so hopefully I won't be too rusty when trying to make this thing. But basically, I just got back from Too Many Games a few days ago, the Expo up in Oaks, Pennsylvania, and I was able to go with Dustin Kreis and Alex ReturnToMotherBase. So I just wanted to share my experience that I had while I was up there, because it was my first type of con or convention thing that I've ever been to. So I just wanted to share some thoughts on it. The ups and downs, the positives and negatives, and the overall experience. First and foremost, I want to mention if you're not subscribed to another gaming podcast and you would like to see the games that we picked up while we were up there, myself, Dustin Kreis, and Alex ReturnToMotherBase, the games we picked up while we were up there during the convention, you need to head on over to that channel and check out the pickups video. We were gonna, instead of doing a separate video each of us, we wanted to do something all together, so we figured we'd do the pickups one together after the second day. Now I do have one item here to show you that I got on the third day, but if you want to see everything else, you have to go over to that channel to check it out. I don't even care if you subscribe to it. If you can if you want, but if you want to see the pickups videos they got, because we did get some pretty cool stuff while we were up there, I would go over just to check that out and take a look at what we got. But while I was up there, this is the pickup that I got on the final day of the Expo, and that is Eternal Ring on PS2. I did not pay $40 for it. I paid $8 for this. Alex, who had his ever watchful eye open, he kind of knew what everyone was kind of looking for, so when we would split up, he would send us a text message or something and say, hey, I got this over here. So he found it at a vendor that actually had already bought some stuff from, and he had it there, wanted $8 for it, so I took it. And it's in great condition, complete. I just need to clean up the stickers and stuff off of it, and we're good to go. So that is the only pickup I have to show on this video. One of them actually playing behind me, one of the games I got. But if you want to check out the rest of them, just head on over to Another Game Podcast. I'll leave a link to the video below in the description so you can go check it out if you're interested in it. But yeah, it's been a little bit, so let's see if I can get into this and explain the Too Many Games kind of expo and how I've enjoyed it, and hopefully doing this video will kind of mark a little return for doing more videos. To be all honest, I am going to be swamped with things at work over the next 6 months. After December is when things will really slow down for me, but man, the next 6 months I'm going to be slammed, and I'm actually trying to get into more. I want to do more gameplay style videos, but again, I barely have time to even play games right now. So without further ado, let's get into Too Many Games. Now, this expo in Pennsylvania, Oaks, Pennsylvania, it all came about because I think Alex ReturnToMotherBase was saying something about, hey, do you guys want to go? Maybe just jokingly. And then when I said, sure, I'm down for it, I'll go, then we got Dustin into coming. It just kind of happened. So it's been something that's been planned for months and months and months. And finally we were able to go all hang out and meet up together. Dustin was driving in from where he lives in Ohio, and I had to go to Pennsylvania and actually pick up into central Philly because the expo actually takes place kind of out away from it. I had to go into Philly and pick up Alex after he got off the bus. And let's just say I'm not one for heavy big city traffic. I am country boy, small town living. I'm not used to the hectic life of living in a big city or even driving around in a big city and being near it. So the whole thought of that happening, of me having to go get him, was just stressing me out like crazy because I hate traffic. I just hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I just hate having to deal with anything like that. So of course the first video back in forever, we get interrupted by a phone call. But anyway, let's keep on going. So the actual drive to Philly was the thing that was stressing me out the most. But finally getting into there and picking up Alex and just exploring Philly and stuff on the second day we were there, it was pretty cool. The first day I got there, I got a little bit early, so I just started walking around the city myself, just trying to see if I could find any game stores before Alex, his bus had come in. And I walked, man, I don't know how many blocks I walked around when I got into Philly. Central Philly, but there was nothing. There were no stores. I figured with such a huge city there would be like stores on every corner, but there really wasn't. So unfortunately, when I first got there, I didn't find anything except the Subway, and I got a sandwich. But I finally got Alex. Once I picked him up, we returned to the hotel. We met up with Dustin, and yeah, we headed to the expo from there. The expo was starting at, I think, 2 o'clock on day one. And and it was still a little early, I believe, before we hit over there. So we decided to go to Target first. Dustin wanted to find a backpack to see if so he can put his stuff in. And while at Target, they actually had some pretty good game deals while we were there, but I don't think any of us picked up anything that day on the first day we went there. But Target had a great selection of clearance games that were actually on sale. And then we headed over to the Expo. When we got there, everything wasn't quite open yet, so they shoved all of us into the arcade area until the official event started. And pretty much all Too Many Games it's really just a huge place for vendors to come and set up and sell you their games. Now, they did have an area set up for like an indie game stand where you can go play some indie games or tabletop games, but all those areas were like very small and not as, I guess, well planned as the vendor areas. But it was pretty cool that they were actually able to get as many indie games and stuff as they did in there. Now, while we were there, we didn't check out hardly any of that stuff at all. I checked out the tabletop stuff for some friends who wanted me to be on the lookout for some stuff for them, but the selections were kind of slim for those two. And overall, the actual, like all the vendor setups was smaller than I thought it was going to be. I was expecting this big, huge thing, but I believe Too Many Games is still a young type of convention. It hasn't been going on for too long, or hasn't been as well known as it is now. So from the impressions I'm getting, I'm guessing it's just continued to grow and grow and grow. With that being said, there were still a ton of vendors at this expo, and so many great games to just look at and be able to hold for the first time, like box copies of Super Metroid and Chrono Trigger if you're into that. Even though I'm not a fan of the game, just being able to hold something there that you know is very sought after and people would really love to have, it's pretty cool just being able to do that. Box copies of Earthbound, I mean, just tons and tons of stuff. They had some pretty good vendors and then not so great vendors. So they had some vendors who were really cool and would work with you. But in the case of, man, there was one vendor with Dustin. Anytime we tried to get a deal at that guy, the one time he was a real jerk. And I think Dustin paid $5 for a Dragon Quest III manual. And the guy, he said, what do you want to start at? I started the bidding for Dustin. I said $1. We'll start off at 1 because it's so beat up. And the guy's like, nah, I can't do that. Let's do 5. And Dustin said, okay. And I was like, man, you should have tried for 3. And the guy said, yeah, because I would have took 3. So he said that right after Dustin paid him. Then on the last day, Dustin bought a NES game from him. I think the price on it was $27. And last day, you're like, let's make things easier, $25. And the guy refused to go down $2 on it. He just would not budge $2. Even though Dustin the day before overpaid $2 on something. So I don't know, just some things like that it just bugged me. But anyways, for the most part, vendors were really cool. It's like you're going in, they know what they're talking about. If you're asking for games, except anytime I asked for God Hand, sometimes people had to scratch their head a little bit because that was the most sought after game I was looking for while I was up there. It was God Hand on the PS2, and it was like kind of 75 to 80% of the people knew what I was talking about when asking about it. But surprisingly, about 20% of the vendors and even store owners did not know what game I was talking about. So they would have to look it up and see what I was talking about and if it was in their inventory. So it was pretty cool. Just being able to go around and explore all these different vendors and setups. And it wasn't just video games. They had plushie setups. They had bead art setups. All sorts of different stuff. So whatever floats your boat, I'm pretty sure you had a good chance of finding. Now there are some things that, man, being at a convention like that, I thought for sure I'd be able to find something like God Hand. No one even had it to sell. Another game I was kind of looking out for was Doom 64 complete in box. There are certain games that I would love to just have complete in box, and that's one of them. Games like Super Metroid and stuff I eventually would love to have complete in box, just the price is so astronomically high on all that stuff right now. But a game like Doom 64 was just insanely difficult to come by complete in box at a price I was willing to pay. But apparently the price is shooting up and everything. Alex found a copy complete in box for $40, which I guess is a good price now, because I wouldn't even wanted to pay $25 to $30 for a complete in box one. but I guess 40 is actually a steal now. It seems like when a game gets announced, a new game in the series gets announced, the price is jumping up. All the Doom games, the price is shooting up because of the new Doom coming out. The Shenmue games are jumping up astronomically high again because Shenmue 3 was announced. I can't believe Shenmue 2, you can pay 70 to 80 bucks now to have to get a copy, and I have 2 copies sitting over here. The original Shenmue I thought I had. I could have sworn I had, so that was going to be a game I was going to look out for too while I was up there. I did not know the price jumped up so much on that game. It's over 50 to 70 to try to get a copy of that game. That used to be a dime a dozen too. You could get so cheap. Man, it's just ridiculous how the market is always constantly changing with these video games. Even when we went to a store, one of the stores we went to while we were up there was Classic Game Junkie. Fantastic store, especially their main hub. It is just, it's like a gamer's paradise. Just a fun place to come hang out, and you got Zelda music greeting you right when you come into the door. It's just a nice, clean, wonderfully set up place. It's not as big again as I thought it was going to be, but it's just well thought out, well organized, well set up. And even I mean, when they're doing their pricing, they'll have some price tags on some stuff, but the rare stuff that's inside the cases, some of them are unmarked because they'll look it up and see what the market's going for on it before they sell it, because the market's constantly fluctuating with these games. So not only is that good on your half because they want to make sure they're not overcharging you, because if a game was selling around the 70s but now it's down in the 60s, they still want to better their competition, so they're going to go even lower than that just to try to help you out to get a good deal. So Classic Game Junkie, they were awesome. That's where I got a couple pickups from there. You can check it out in the video if you want. Actually through some trades. I didn't drop a dime there except for Alex. I helped Alex in buying something there, which was some pretty cool stuff. So I highly recommend checking out the pickups video. But Classic Game Junkie, great store. So it was great that we were able to go over there and swing by there and just explore that store some while we were up in Philly. That was one of the main goals. And then the Expo Center was mainly where we did most of our game hunting and game shopping. So the overall experience was really cool, just being able to be there with Dustin and Alex, walking around, going game hunting and all, keeping our eyes peeled for each other, finding games for each other, buying games in some cases for each other. But it was just a great time being able to hang out with those guys. That was my second time meeting Dustin. My first time meeting Alex, but we talked so much online. It's like you already know the person. It wasn't weird or anything at all. I think a lot of people get nervous or something when you're doing these meetups with people, but I don't get nervous at all because that's part of my job. I'm used to confronting people all the time and talking to people all the time, so it's pretty easy to get in there. And speaking of meeting people, it was really cool and it was an honor that we actually got to meet one of the people that I look up to highly in the YouTube game community. Actually, 2 of them. Splatter Trigger and Happy Console Gamer Johnny Millennium. We were all walking around together looking for, just shopping for some vendors, and I look over to the corner of my eye and I see Johnny and Splatter Trigger just kind of having a conversation with another guy. I look at Dustin, I was like, there he is, man. I said, because that was the one person Dustin wanted to meet and shake his hand out of everybody. I said, let's go get our handshake. So It was kind of awkward approaching that, because when someone's in mid-conversation, you just don't want to come up and just like, oh, hey, big fan, big fan. No, you don't want to do nothing like that. So he kind of nonchalantly walked up and just kind of hung off to the side until there was kind of like an opening. And then I went to Splatter Trigger first, and I was like, I'm sorry to interrupt you guys, but it's just great to meet you, shake their hands. Splatter Trigger, I loved his videos when he was making those. Really thought out, well knowledge about working designs and everything. So it was great watching his videos when he was making them. And of course, Johnny Millennium, Happy Console Gamer, his stuff, he's a big influence in I think almost everybody who's into the kind of style of just sitting in front of a camera and talking, because he kind of honed that and did that. And so I got to meet them, and Happy Console Gamer, he actually kind of recognized Dustin, he said, when he walked up to him. So it was pretty cool that he kind of remembered Dustin's face. Maybe not name or anything, but he knew about him. So we sat there and talked to them for a little bit, and Dustin and Alex hang there talking with Splatter Trigger and Johnny longer than I did, because I was on a mission to find God Hand. and it was kind of early in that day when we got there on day 2. So I head back out to the floor because I wanted to find that game. In the process, Dustin and them actually got pictures with Spider Trigger and Johnny, which stinks because I wish I could have hung around and at least gotten a picture and been in on that. But we were supposed to hang out with them later on that day. Unfortunately, me being an old man, I got tired really early in the evening, kind of passed out, and we just were all really tired that day. So we actually didn't get to hang out with Johnny and the guys, but the invite was there if we wanted to go. So that was pretty cool that he actually thought about inviting us and allowing us to come and hang out with them and chill out for the night. So, but yeah, unfortunately it didn't happen. We would have had some cool stories probably if he did. But it would have been awkward being in a situation like that with, because we would have been there to want to hang out with Johnny or Spider Trigger, especially if you're not fans of other YouTube sites or something and just everyone's gathered around there. I mean, I can be civil and everything, but if there's just channels there of people who might annoy me or something, it would be kind of irritating being in the same room and just trying to be around it. But it would have probably been a Game Chasers and Alpha Omega Sin and everybody in there, which I don't really have any problem with them or anything. But it was really cool. It was cool actually seeing all these people in person because just everyone seemed smaller in person than they did on video, except Billy from the Game Chasers. He looks tall in his videos and stuff, and he's actually a tall kind of guy. He looks like he did. Everyone else seems small, and I'm not a big guy either. I'm only like a 175-pound individual, but everyone else did seem just really tiny in person, especially people like Alpha Omega Sin. You never realize how short people actually are until you meet them. And Jay from the Game Chasers, man, he was a shorty too. But it's just kind of crazy seeing everybody in person and seeing all that, because I guess the camera really does change like perspective on how you see people or the way we look. But other than that, it was cool. I wish I would have had a chance. I saw the Josh Games of War there with his son across the way. I wish I would have had a chance to talk to him. I think Alex and Dustin did, because Alex is good friends with Josh. And it would have been cool to actually talk to him for a moment too, because I'm a big fan of his channel too. So it would have been nice to meet him and maybe get a picture with Josh. And overall, just get more pictures. It would have been great to take more pictures at this event. But unfortunately, 80% of the time, my camera or my phone was dead, which meant I could take no pictures. Because there were some awesome cosplay outfits that I wish I could have took pictures of, or just pictures with other YouTubers and stuff. It just would have been great to actually capture all those memories on, like in a picture form, just to keep. But I guess they're all in my head. All the memories are up here. But next time, if I was going to do it again, I'd want to take more pictures of the event so I could share it around and maybe post them in a video or something like this. Not actual video footage, but just pictures would be fine. Another thing I wish I could redo, I wish I would have spent more time checking out like all the other indie games and stuff like that. Because we kind of just went in, game hunted, and left. That's pretty much the gist of what we did. They actually had a lot of panels there too. And we tried to sit in on one panel that had Johnny, had Alpha Omega Sin, had the Game Chasers. It had all the like bigger channels up there in a panel, and they were talking about a new website that they're going to be all kind of launching together. As I adjust here, talking about a new website they're kind of launching. But being in the convention just for about that panel for about 15 minutes, they went to a question and answer, and it just wasn't my kind of thing. It wasn't too entertaining, so we kind of jetted out from that. But they did have, if panels are your thing, they have them there. They had like all day, they just had panels going on, so you could go in and sit in on many of them. What else? I guess that's about it. Just overall, it was a pretty cool experience. The convention wasn't Dustin telling his horror stories from the PAX East convention in Boston, of just it being overpacked and crowded. It was nothing like that at this convention, especially day one. Which, if you ever go to one of these things, day one seems to be the best day to go in and get your deals for just being able to find stuff. Because a lot of stuff starts getting just sucked up and bought. So day one is a great day for buying things. Day two, the Saturday, it was a little bit more crowded. It had a lot more people that day, but still easy to navigate and walk through. It's not like you're pushing through people or anything. Some of the vendors would get a little clogged, so you might have had to wait your turn to kind of get in there and look through things. But since we were there on day one, we pretty much knew like where the games were. We might have had an idea if we wanted to get. So it was like again. I regret not being able to find a God Hand. Another one that I passed up on the last day that was so tough to pass up on was Shadow Tower on PS1. There was a guy selling it, $50. I wanted to pay 40, and if he would have said 40, I probably would have walked out with it. He went down to 45 and said, "Hey, it'll be 45 for you all day." I walked around, I tried thinking about it, and I wound up passing on it. And as soon as I left, I immediately regretted it. I immediately regret not picking up that game. So I should have. But I got plenty of great stuff while I was up there. Go ahead and check out the pickups video if you're interested on the AGP channel. And check it out and see what you think of all the stuff we got. But other than that, that's pretty much all I can remember. The only other thing I remember is like the third day. We got there really early because for some reason we're all on like Alex's clock. Alex loves to wake up early. And we're just all up around 6 or 6:30 every morning. And the convention didn't start till 10 o'clock every day. So we're up that long trying to kill time. So we get to the convention about an hour early on the last day. And I actually walked right in the doors. Now, they had separate passes. The pass we had was just to be in the convention. They had, I guess, these media passes or vendor passes that were red. And you could walk in early to start setting up and things of that nature. I didn't have a red pass, but I didn't care. I didn't want to sit outside waiting. So the doors were actually open to the main convention hall where people could line up and get ready. And then there are the other set of doors that actually lead into the vendors. So I went and told Alex and Dustin, "Hey, the doors are open. Let's just wait in here." So they come in. So we all walk into the waiting area, so to say. But the doors to the convention were open. And I could see people just kind of setting up the games and stuff. So I walked in just to walk around. I turned around and Alex and Dustin didn't follow me. They were just sitting by the door. So I was like, I don't care. So I just started walking around. I started chatting with one of the vendors who had a sign up. He's going to start selling some games for $1. If I wanted to buy anything right there, he was going to let me. But I was like, no, I'll come back and see if there's anything that interests me. Which that guy was a really cool vendor the whole weekend. Got some great stuff from him. But I was walking around the hall looking at all the vendors and kind of planning out the plan of attack for the last day. And no one was stopping me. No one cared. I guess everyone who worked for Too Many Games had a Too Many Games, like the Defender shirt on. I guess as a defense squad. But no one stopped me or came to me or approached me from doing anything. So after walking around for about 20 minutes, I actually go back to the door where Dustin and Alex are waiting. And I post up a chair on the inside because I just wanted to sit down because we still had about another half an hour before the thing started. And this is no joke. People thought I worked there. I'm sitting at the door and people are asking me questions. I'm not wearing a shirt. Even people from the Too Many Games Expo, like the workers, are coming asking me questions and what the plan of attack for the day and everything was. And just Alex and Dustin are cracking up the whole time because people are coming to the door wanting to flash me their badge and wanting to come in and asking me questions, and I started acting like an employee there, so I just tried to fill the role. So it's pretty entertaining doing that until the convention actually starts, and then this so-called employee gets up and walks away and goes shopping. But it was really cool. It was just so funny how even one of the head guys running the thing was coming up to me thinking I was an employee there, and nope, I was not. So it was pretty entertaining. But other than that, I mean, it was just great being able to hang out with Dustin and Alex. That was the highlight of everything. Just being able to hang out with those guys. Going out to eat at restaurants, just having good conversation. That was just a blast being able just to do that with those guys. And they are who they are. How they are in their videos is who they are in real life. So they're not phony or anything. That is who they are. That is Dustin and Alex. So if you're fans of those people in their videos, you will be a fan of them if you ever get a chance to meet them in real life. Great people. It was great being able to hang out. Hopefully we'll be able to do it again in the future. I know I'm probably going to go to Too Many Games here again probably in 2 years. Maybe I'm going to make it a bi-yearly thing. Want to go to MagFest. MagFest might be the thing next year. That's closer and won't have to drive as far. So I think me and Alex have talked about maybe trying to tackle that one. And so we'll see. Maybe there'll be some footage next year of MagFest. But other than that, fantastic experience. If I could do it all over again, I would. Even though the traffic on the way back was a nightmare. But that'll be a story for another day. So without further ado, I guess I'll end this video. I think I rambled on long enough. But yeah, definitely go check out the pickups video on that channel. Again, don't care if you even subscribe or anything to the channel, but give us a listen if you want to on other gaming podcasts. But at least go check out the pickups so you can see all the great things that we got. And yeah, I guess that's about it. So enjoy. I think this is the 4th of July weekend here, so enjoy your 4th of July weekend in the States. Knock it out.